buying that Jalen Hurts is now underrated?
At this point, I think it's possible the pendulum has swung a bit too far in the other direction.
To where he's overrated?
Well, we were on Thursday and Friday of last week, Wilds was kicking around the conversation of just wanting to have the conversation, is he the best quarterback in football? And when I totally agree with the idea that it is a fool's errand to simply measure quarterbacks by how well they throw the football. I think that is, for most quarterbacks, the most important thing they do, but not for all. And I think there's a lot more to playing the position and winning than just that. And Hurts gets somewhere from an A to an A triple plus in basically every category but that one. Mm-hmm. But when that one, at least this year, has been as anemic as it's been, and it's not like last year where, well, the team's beating everyone by 30 and Saquon's, running for 2,000 yards, then I don't think through 2 weeks his standing should have improved. You know what I mean? And so when we can put up the passing charts and then his season numbers, again, like that, there's week 1. It's a bunch of nothing, and then the pass to, was it Dotson? And then the one deep down the field. Week 2 was somehow worse. Really a bunch of nothing, and then the one pass to Devontae. And then his passing numbers, coach, are what they are as far as league ranks. I mean, again, if you are ranking him saying, and so this is why he's the 15th best quarterback, then yeah, he's way underrated. But I think his general ranking is about 8th. You know what I mean? And I think that's probably
some might
about.
Even have him higher.
Yeah, some might have him higher, but Wilds finds people who have him lower, so that's why I said, you know what I mean? Sure. To me, that's fair.
Yeah, I don't know if that's totally a compliment.
What?
They're sitting there saying,
anonymous executive.
Yeah, he's completely underrated for his intangibles. Yeah, but and people overrate arm talent. So you're essentially saying, yeah, he's got great intangibles. He's not that guy. Not great skill, not great ability as a passer.
Yeah.
But he is underrated from an intangible perspective. Or I think more people are. I don't even know if he's even underrated there because people respect that part of his game so much. But the flip side of that is he's essentially saying, yeah, the arm talent part's not where you'd want it to be. And when you look at his numbers, and I know Kevin loves when I bring this up, but now we're at 17 games. We're in the last 17 games that they've won. He's thrown the ball more than 30 times once. Okay, so it's 7. Yeah. So there's a formula, and the formula isn't with him as being an elite passer. So as long as they can keep this running game intact and this defensive formula intact, and he's willing to manage it and not be caught up in trying to prove everybody wrong, then it's great. And
okay. This is where it's always a little tough because we've had this conversation so many times, okay? And stuff like this, these charts and some of the stats are so misleading. And I made a video and I posted it. I'm recording this video right now before I posted that video. And it's with Dan Orlovsky, and I do a much more deeper dive into Jalen Hurts passing and why it's anemic. And why Jalen Hurts keeps getting all the blame for this. And not coaching and coordinating and scheme. I've already done other deep dives where I showed you all the behind the line of scrimmage passes, the screen passes, and how Jalen Hurts never really gets to benefit from that. He did with Shane Steichen, but not since then. And not the year before, not the years after. And how that boosts a lot of quarterbacks' passing stats, touchdowns, completion percentage, passer rating, and on and on and on. And that's not what that video is about, to be clear. And I show highlights from the Bucs-Texans game. And I really highly suggest you check it out because I think it's pretty good. But what I need to understand is why we so regularly put everything on Jalen Hurts. This game, and I think Orlovsky does such a great job, the passing game, and he specifically looks at the Chiefs versus Eagles game, and it's just like you can see nobody is open. Nobody is open. And it's like, where do you want him to go with the ball? And Jalen Hurts now is putting on a clinic of not forcing the ball. He is being an elite game manager. You're saying, well, this is now 17 games that he's only thrown the ball 30 times once. And it's like, and in those 17 games, they won every single one of them. And they won the Super Bowl. And he was the Super Bowl MVP. And in the biggest moments, they asked Jalen Hurts to throw the ball. And he throws the ball insanely accurate and scores touchdowns. Like, what are we saying here? What are we saying here? And I just love this cutoff of 30, which I've already railed against. Like, 25 is bad, but 30 is fantastic. It's like, what? It's just so absurd. It really is. It really is. And we praise Patrick Mahomes' intangibles. We praise Lamar Jackson and Josh Allen's intangibles. And now when wanting to discuss Jalen Hurts' intangibles, it's bad? Huh? What? Why? Since when? Like what? I mean, it's just crazy to me. Do you realize in this game, in this really hard fought, ugly, tough, gritty game against Kansas City Chiefs, one mistake ruins it all. One mistake ruins it all. Patrick Mahomes made multiple mistakes in that game. Multiple mistakes. They lost the game. If Jalen Hurts just makes one mistake, turns the ball over, forces a ball when he shouldn't have, they lose the game. That's all it takes. That's all it takes. He was flawless in managing that game. That's not a bad thing. That's an important thing. Many other quarterbacks around the league would have won a lot more games if they knew how to do that. A lot of them. A lot of them. Heck, did you just see what Geno Smith was doing the other day against the Chargers? My goodness. My goodness. I mean, Justin Herbert, who's throwing the ball all over the field, and I think is an incredibly gifted and beautiful thrower of the ball. But there was a point when that game is over, and then he was kind of struggling to manage the rest of that game. Like, he almost threw an interception where you're just like, what are you doing right now? This game is over. Just be smart now. Like, what? No need for anything extra here. Like, just be smart with the ball here, man. Like, don't let the team in now. Like, don't let the opposing team get some momentum. Like, no. What are you doing? And Jalen Hurts has done that flawlessly. Jalen Hurts needed to be absolutely perfect against the Cowboys and against the Chiefs to win this. If anything, you should be asking, why does this team need Jalen Hurts to be so perfect just to eke out these wins? That's the question. That's the more important question. But nobody is open. Nobody is open. And you want to blame Jalen Hurts for this. That's insane. Jalen Hurts had a bunch of open receivers in the Washington Commanders game, and he hit them all. And he passed great and beautifully. And when they weren't open and when he had to scramble, make throws, which I showed you those highlights, that one throw to Devontae Smith that ended up being like pass interference, which then would have been a complete pass, but he got yanked, and so he dropped it. But then they still got to the 1 yard line. I mean, like, him making the throw, falling off to the side, off 1 foot. I mean, just being elite in that moment. But it was like, doesn't count as a completion and a 30-yard pass or whatever. So, like, it doesn't count. It's not a pass attempt. It's not a completion, and you don't get to add an extra 30 yards and a touchdown to his box score. So it's like, nah, it's not that good. And it's like, no, he was unbelievable. He was flushed out of the pocket like instantly and throws a beautiful pre-dagger to the dagger to Devontae Smith. But, like, in the box score, it doesn't exist. But he gets a tush-push touchdown, and they're like, well, see, he just got a tush-push touchdown. That was directly caused because of his throwing. And now you want to penalize Jalen Hurts that the Eagles have been winning games, and so they're being smart with the ball, running the ball, controlling the clock. keeping the opposing quarterback on the bench. And these are bad things? These are bad things? I showed you guys this last summer. Like going into the season, this past summer. Patrick Mahomes threw the ball all over the place in 2018. And then in 2019, he had 1,000 less passing yards and half the touchdown passes. And nobody said the way the Chiefs win is by asking this quarterback to pass the ball less. That was the solution to their problem. They lost in 2018. It was a high-powered offense and it was exciting, but it wasn't good enough. But in 2019, when they asked Mahomes to do less, they won. Nobody discussed that. Nobody said that. Nobody. And I know everyone wants to say, like, A.J. Brown, Devontae, and, Dallas Goedert, and the O-line, and so, like, this offense should just be otherworldly. And it's like, we saw how incredibly dynamic this offense was when they had really smart Shane Steichen as a coordinator. We see what he's doing with Daniel Jones. We've seen what he's doing with what he did with Justin Herbert, and we saw what he did with Jalen Hurts. To date, that was his best coordinator that he's had. And Jalen Hurts was able to just throw all over the field because, say it with me, coaching matters. And then you had Kellen Moore, who's a really smart coordinator. Not on Shane Steichen's level. I don't think Kellen Moore is this like otherworldly, like just monster of an offensive mind. I think he's a really, really, really good coordinator and could be a great head coach. I mean, time will tell. But really competent, smart play caller. And I think he had a beautiful game plan in that Super Bowl, cut the field, Super Bowl, cut the field in half in a way that really helped simplify and make things easy for Jalen Hurts, which every single offensive coordinator and every single offensive head coach does for their quarterback. It is their job to simplify and make things easy for their quarterback. It's what Andy does for Mahomes. It's what Sean McVay does for Stafford. So do not get it twisted in any stretch of the imagination. That is what you're supposed to do. Simplify and make things easy for your quarterback. If a coach doesn't do that, then they're not a good coach, okay? Anyone who's ever been coached by anyone knows that's the job of the coach, to make things easy for you. The coach is not like, hey man, this is just hard. Get out there and try your best. Otherwise, then what the heck is the point of a coach? So let's be very clear about that. And Kellen Moore, I think Mark Sanchez did an awesome job of breaking that down, which I broke down that clip and discussed it further, and it was great. And same thing with Greg Cosell. I think they did both really good jobs of breaking down the film for the Super Bowl, which I then broke down when I think I did a pretty good job. Thanks. I think you did a good job too. But so with this all said, how can the Philadelphia Eagles get a brand new coach, a brand new offensive coordinator, and nobody looks to him for any of the issues? I want to know that. Seriously, I want to know that. Why? Why is it when an offense is looking great, like a Ben Johnson? Think about this. Let's just all think about this. Walk this walk with me. Detroit Lions are rolling, doing great. And everyone's like, Ben Johnson, man, Ben Johnson, look how great Ben Johnson is. Ben Johnson, Ben Johnson, Ben Johnson. And people like me and people like Colin are like, hey, Jared Goff, like when he's with Sean McVay, he's a lot better. And when he's with Ben Johnson, he's a lot better. Without those guys, not as much, not the same. And now they're going to bring Ben Johnson over to the Bears. And people are saying, I don't know how good this offense is going to be without Ben Johnson. And after the Packers game, they say, I think the Lions are missing Ben Johnson. But they still have Amon-Ra St. Brown. They still have Dan Campbell. They still have Jared Goff. They still got Sonic and Knuckles, like et cetera, et cetera. But everyone was like, the O-line, or excuse me, the coaching, the offense just didn't look the same. And now the Philadelphia Eagles get a new coordinator after winning the Super Bowl and Jalen Hurts having a record-setting Super Bowl performance, absolutely balling out and dominating the Kansas City Chiefs and becoming the Super Bowl MVP. He gets a new coordinator that 99.9% of the NFL world has never heard of. I guarantee you that majority of Eagles fans had never even heard of him, except for the ones that are truly locked in and truly are like, they know all the coaches' names, and that's not a lot of them. And the passing game is not perfect. A.J. Brown's not, catching balls all over the place, and Devontae's not catching balls. And everyone just says, Jalen Hurts is the problem. Jalen Hurts is anemic. Jalen Hurts can't throw. What's the problem with Jalen Hurts? Jalen Hurts, Jalen Hurts, Jalen Hurts. How does that make sense? Tell me that. I want to know. How does that make any sense? It doesn't. It makes zero sense. Jalen Hurts is one of the only quarterbacks that does not get any of that benefit of the doubt at all. At all, at all, at all. And you guys know I am very coach forward. That is like, cannot be denied. And so I don't understand why someone like Jalen Hurts does not get it when it's their job to get these guys open. It's their job to be able to scheme so that they can get the ball. Did you see the throws that A.J. Brown, like all the routes that A.J. Brown was running, which is why I'm excited for you guys to see that clip if you didn't already watch it with Dan Orlovsky down. I mean, A.J. Brown is just running 5 yards out and cutting in. And every single time there's just a guy blanketed over him. Every time that Jalen Hurts had to try to get the ball to A.J. Brown, there was just a defender right there, and it was just catch, tackle, catch, tackle, catch, tackle. Every single time. What do you want Jalen Hurts to do in these moments? To throw a ball so hard that A.J. Brown just catches it and then just flies into the end zone? Like he's a Looney Tune? Like, what are you expecting here? For him just to catch the ball and fly into the back of the field goal post, and then the referees just go, oh, that's a touchdown. 6 points. You know what? 10 points because it was such a beautiful throw. Like, what do you want him to do? I mean, and he was blitzed. First off, he was blitzed nonstop in this game. Just blitz. I mean, like, just nonstop pressure. Jalen Hurts dealt with it with a champ. That throw to Devontae that people are trying to downplay, I show you it in that clip. I mean, he was just engulfed by Chiefs. The fact that he even got that throw off is remarkable. The fact that that ball was even remotely catchable for Devontae was awesome. But I guess it wasn't a perfectly thrown ball in stride for him to catch. And so therefore, like, oh, well, Devontae Smith had to make an adjustment to catch the ball. Yeah, it's called football. Like what are we talking about here? Seriously. He didn't throw that ball into like triple coverage. That I could understand. Then I could say, yeah, that was a bit of a prayer ball. But he threw that ball in a way where either Devontae Smith is coming down with it, getting pass interference, or the ball's hitting the ground. While having 3 Kansas City Chiefs players just in his face, where he has to release the ball like right here. He can't even go forward. Like, it's just lower body push and a flick of the wrist and finger strength at that point. I mean, I tried to freeze frame it as much as I could, but it's hard because it's just like they're just after him. And I don't understand why we keep going in circles here. I mean, his on-target percentage this season is number 1 in the NFL. Through the roof. 95%. And you're going to say, yeah, but there are all these short throws. And it's like, those are the throws that are open to him. He's taking what the defense is giving him. Last time I checked, that's how you're supposed to play quarterback. Show me the film where all these receivers are just open and Jalen Hurts is not hitting them. Show me the times that Jalen Hurts is either just not throwing the ball when he should, or he's throwing the ball and it's just out of the reach of the receiver and you're just like, he had AJ there, he just missed him. Show me. I want to see it. People are trying to pretend someone like Baker Mayfield is playing better than Jalen Hurts right now because he's got a bunch of touchdowns and this, that, and it's like, that guy's got 6 turnover-worthy plays. I've seen every single throw that Baker Mayfield made this season so far. And that dude could have, I'm not exaggerating, that's what a turnover-worthy play is. He could literally have been intercepted 6 times. 6 times, like 4 out of the 6 turnover-worthy plays were balls that you're just like, as a defender, you're like, how did you drop this? How did you drop this? Those would have led to losses. It's sheer luck. That's why they calculate turnover-worthy plays, because this stuff does matter. And I love how people always want to push back and be like, well, you know, it wasn't, so it doesn't count. And it's like, okay, well, Jalen Hurts won the Super Bowl, so none of the other stuff you say counts then. Like, you want to play that game? Like, okay. It's like, well, he's winning all these games. He has above 700 win percentage. He's got Super Bowl records, etc. Well, he's got the best team. Oh, okay. Now you want to add nuance. You don't want to add any nuance. You don't want to unpack things and discuss things more deeply when it's against your take. But when it's the take that I'm saying, you're just like, no. Now we have to unpack this more. It's like, oh, okay. Almost makes sense. Almost makes sense. That's why I did those deep dives and showed you the highlights and showed you the clips of all of Jalen Hurts' playoff games on both Super Bowl runs and showing you the throws that he's making, the types of throws that he's being asked in the moments that he's being asked to make them. Having an all-out blitz, 3rd and long, an absolute crucial moment in the game, and Jalen Hurts gets that throw off and throws it to Devontae Smith for like, I forget how many yards it was, like 50, whatever the heck the final number is, but, a deep pass that directly leads to a touchdown, that directly leads to a win, and you want to say, yeah, but he only threw like 100-some yards. It's like, am I losing my mind right now? Am I losing my mind? I could understand. If Jalen Hurts also didn't have the track record of doing what he's done in the past, then I could understand. I could totally understand. If he didn't win a Super Bowl, if he didn't go to multiple Super Bowls, if he didn't play great in multiple Super Bowls, if he didn't play great against the Washington Commanders, like then I could understand these things. If he didn't have the season in 22, even in 23 when that team was an absolute mess and he was imperfect, but yet still was a massive reason why that team got to the playoffs in the first place. He was injured. And in that playoff game, A.J. Brown was injured. And Jason Kelsey is retiring. And that defense was awful. Bottom in the NFL. And fired play callers on both sides of the ball. He succeeded in that moment. He didn't have a 4-win season that year. A 5-win season that year. He didn't have that. He led that team to being 10-1. And a lot of it was on his back. Overtime win on his back against Josh Allen and the Buffalo Bills. Like, he's had these moments. Has Jalen Hurts been able to just check off 5,000 yards, 5,000 yards, 5,000 yards, 4,000 yards, 4,000 yards, 40 touchdowns, 40 touchdowns, 40 touchdowns? No, he has not. But he has plenty of other things to check off as well. And again, you want to keep telling me like, oh, these other quarterbacks, they throw the ball 30 times and this and that and this and that. And it's just like, I don't remember the stuff off the top of my head right now, but it's like, I did the cutoff. I'm like, well, let's do the cutoff of like 25 times or 28 times. And it's like, he's got a lot of wins throwing the ball 25 or more times, but it wasn't 5 times more than that. And that's why then I showed you, look at the rate of all the other quarterbacks who are now throwing, 5+ passes a game that are like 1-yard passes. That adds up. That Jalen Hurts at this would, if that was the style of offense, if the Eagles ran the amount of screen passes and behind the line of scrimmage passes that these other teams utilize, Jalen Hurts would be averaging 30 passes a game as well. I think the exact math was like 29 point whatever. So I guess it's still not 30, so it's not good enough. But that's not how the Eagles run their offense because of Jalen Hurts and his legs, because of Saquon Barkley. But again, he's done it without Saquon Barkley. Like, we still got people who are so out of their minds being like, Saquon Barkley is the reason why the Eagles do this, that. And it's like, he wasn't on the Eagles in 23. He wasn't on the Eagles in 22. And in the Super Bowl, Saquon Barkley was nullified in the run game. He could not get the run game going at all. Jalen Hurts was the leading rusher. What is wrong with you people? What is wrong with you people? It doesn't make any sense at this point. And when you don't make sense, it's the definition of nonsense. And again, I'm not out here arguing that I think Jalen Hurts is like the number 1 quarterback in the NFL. That's not my argument. That's never been my argument. Never been my argument. At all. I'm not here trying to say that that Jalen Hurts is better than Patrick Mahomes and this, that. Like, that's not my argument. It's never been my argument. But the core of my argument is that we're constantly having the wrong conversation around Jalen Hurts. And we constantly keep twisting things. And we never give him the credit when the credit is actually owed to him in the biggest moments, in the most important moments. Whether it's a regular season game, week 2 on the road against the Kansas City Chiefs, or in the Super Bowl. It just doesn't make sense. It makes no sense. None. Zero. I mean, right now, Jalen Hurts is getting blitzed a ton. Okay? One of the top quarterbacks in the NFL being under pressure right now. And his completion percentage under pressure is second in the NFL. 64.7%. 64.7%. And that's with a brand new coordinator who is clearly not giving him any solutions. Any solutions whatsoever. And this is what Jalen Hurts is doing to take care of the ball. This is what he's doing. Brock Purdy went under pressure, 2 interceptions. CJ Stroud, an interception. Dak Prescott, an interception. Kyler Murray, an interception. I mean, Baker Mayfield, 50% completion percentage. Josh Allen, 50% completion percentage. Jaden Daniels, 50% completion percentage. Lamar Jackson, 46.7 completion percentage. Matthew Stafford, 45.5. Patrick Mahomes, 43.5. And Jalen Hurts is all the way up there at 64.7%. Shout out to Dak, 64.3. So I don't know. I really don't. And that's adding his other scrambles of 4. Where, Jared Goff has 0. Dak has 2. Tua's got 0. Burrow's got 2, but those aren't real scramble runs. Let's be serious here. Daniel Jones getting after it, 5. CJ Stroud, 1. Brock Purdy, 2. Sam Darnold, 0. I mean, I don't know, man. I really, really don't. They talk about how important it is to get first downs, and especially when the pressure's coming, when blitz is coming. He's got 7 passing first downs. 7 passing first downs when under pressure here. Jared Goff, who has a higher completion percentage and more pass attempts under pressure, only 5. Joe Burrow was 7. CJ Stroud was 6. Brock Purdy with 4. Although he played 1 less game, so we can't really use Purdy. Josh Allen with 5. Lamar Jackson with 4. Justin Herbert with 5. Stafford with 6. It's like even when he's under pressure and he's converting first downs. I mean, Jalen Hurts right now, when he's not blitzed, he has the highest completion percentage with 85.2%. 85.2%. So it's funny that when you want to look at some of these stats and you just want to be like last and 31st and 26th and this or that, and it's like, well, that's weird. Because you never want to look at the other stats. And you want to say that, the Baker Mayfield's like the 4th best quarterback, and then realize that he actually has less yards per pass than Baker. And it's like, okay, so what does that mean? I guess nothing. And, why don't we look at things like total yards and again, here's a completion percentage here. And when you adjust for throwaways and drops, it's even higher. 96%. 96%. I mean, that's how accurate he is right now. I mean, his on-target rate is just through the absolute roof. By a mile. By a mile. Patrick Mahomes' adjusted completion percentage, 68.9. Baker Mayfield, 65.9. They're down there with Geno Smith, Cam Ward, Jake Browning, and CJ Stroud. And again, it's not everything, because when you're taking shots down the field, you're not always going to be, super accurate. So it's just because you have a high, adjusted completion percentage or just a regular completion percentage, it doesn't always mean hey, you're really accurate. There you go, right? Kyler Murray is not more accurate than Justin Herbert or Patrick Mahomes and I'm sure other random quarterbacks are above them, like Spencer Rattler here, right? So that's why it's you always got to put these numbers in context and actually have the discussion. That's why you can't just say something like this and offer nothing else and say, there you go, this is the list. See, he's not good. You always got to have the full conversation, which I try my best to do. It's not always easy. There's not always time for it, and it's also a lot more complicated than anyone ever wants to give it credit for. And I'll end here, because if it was really that straightforward, we would just be able to look at these numbers, crunch it, and just know exactly who's great and who's not. Boom, bam. And everybody would know exactly what everyone's worth, how much you should pay, which quarterback you should move on from, which quarterback you should draft. And that's not the way it happens. It's not the way it happens. That's my Jalen Hurts rant 1,743. It's like, you would watch some of these videos and think that I think that Jalen Hurts is just the greatest quarterback of all time. And it's really just in response to the absurdity of conversations that constantly follow him. And I really think, and this is where I'll officially end it here, to me, the ultimate trump card is just look at the conversations around the Detroit Lions. Because everyone thinks that they have a great roster. And after the Packers game, and their offense wasn't great, everyone just said, clear Lions miss Ben Johnson. And after the Dallas Cowboys game and the Chiefs game, it was Jalen Hurts. Is he just not that good? What's the story here? It just doesn't make sense. And this was especially going up against a great Kansas City Chiefs defense, which last time I checked, everybody praises. Everybody praises. And yeah. So yeah, I don't know. But those are just my thoughts. I'd absolutely love to hear yours. What do you guys all think about Jalen Hurts? Are you buying that he's underrated, or according to Nick now, he's actually overrated? Let me know in the comments below. I read every single comment. So whether you agree with me or disagree with me, either way, let's get in some discussions. Let's get in some fights. But ultimately, let's just have some fun. And please do consider subscribing. We are building an amazing community here, and absolutely love to see you part of it. I want to build something that we all genuinely feel connected to. Something that we're really excited to be a part of. I think we're well on our way to doing it. And please don't forget to give this video a thumbs up, as it really does help with the visibility and the algorithm. Thank you so much. See you next time.